सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। माइक्रोफोन दिया। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवत् गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Welcome to the weekend Bhagavad Gita classes. In the last session, we completed the last verses of the 4th chapter of the Gita and began with the first 2 slokas, the verses of the 5th chapter. The 5th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita opens with a question from Arjuna. saṃnyāsaṃ karmaṇāṃ kṛṣṇa punaryogaṃ ca śaṃsasi yacchreya etayorekaṃ tanme brūhi suniścitam. O Lord Krishna, śaṃsasi kathayasi. You speak about saṃnyāsaṃ karmaṇāṃ, karmaṇāṃ saṃnyāsaṃ kathayasi. You are speaking about the saṃnyāsa, karmaṇāṃ of actions. Renunciation of all actions is what you are speaking about in the 4th chapter. punaryogaṃ ca śaṃsasi. And in the last verse you told me, yuddhāya samupasthita, please, you stand up, uttishtha. You stand up and join the yoga, perform your action. So you are asking me to perform your action on one hand. On the other hand, you are also speaking about saṃnyāsa, renunciation of actions. yacchreya etayorekaṃ. Now these two cannot be undertaken by one person at the same time. I could not be performing actions, as you say, chitvenam samshayanam enam yogam uttishthātishtha. Enam yogam chitvenam samshayam yogam. So this yoga, you please adopt an uttishtha. You stand up and perform your action. So you are asking me to perform the action. Same time, in the most part of the fourth chapter, the later part of fourth chapter, you spoke about the saṃnyāsaḥ, the renunciation of action. Since I cannot undertake both of them simultaneously, performance of action and the renunciation of action, yacchreya etayorekaṃ. Please tell me, etayorekaṃ yacchreya prashasyataram. What is more commendable of the two? Tanme brūhi suniścitam. You please decide and tell me, what is the best choice? What is the better of the choices? This question that Arjuna, this was discussed at length. It is discussed at length by Shankaracharya ji. And we also discussed it at some length in our last session. To what does Arjuna mean by the word saṃnyāsaṃ? Yacchreya etayorekaṃ. Etayorekaṃ yat ekam śreyah. Of the two, which one is more commendable, which one is better for me? Now Arjuna is asking for the choice between the two, which one is better choice between the two. That can be only if the karmayoga, meaning performance of karma, and karmasaṃnyāsā, renunciation of karma, if both of them fall in the same class, same category, then there is a question of choice. Lord Krishna did speak about saṃnyāsaṃ. And usually the saṃnyāsaṃ that Lord Krishna talks about in the Bhagavad Gita is called pārmārtika saṃnyāsaṃ. Saṃnyāsaṃ, renunciation in the absolute term, which is equivalent to the jnana-nishtha, abidance in the knowledge. Abidance in knowledge that I am Brahman, I am one non-dual, I am the limitless self. Limitless meaning free from every lack and want. I am the actionless self. I am the consciousness which does not perform any action, which transcends action, akarma, karmani, akarmayah pasyed. One who sees actionless in action, meaning one who sees actionless self when the action is being performed. So, saṃnyāsaṃ that Lord Krishna speaks of is abidance in knowledge of the actionless self. And that is the goal. That's called pārmādika saṃnyāsaṃ, meaning the absolute renunciation. The renunciation is non-action. It's not an action. Renunciation takes place by default, you can say, in the present language. When I know that I am the actionless self, I realize that I never perform action. That I was performing action was a notion was a bhrama or delusion on my part. On account of superimposing kartrutvam, doership on the Atma, the kartrutvam, doership that belongs to anatma, upadhi, buddhi, the body, mind, sense complex, that is where the doership belongs. That is what performs all the actions. In presence of Atma, in presence of a self, ahankara vimudhatma kartahamiti manyate. The one who is identified with the upadhi, with the body, mind, sense complex, manyate, believes, entertains a notion, kartaham, I am a doer. So doership is a notion, not a reality about the self. That's what Lord Krishna revealed in the 4th chapter. And that will be revealed in the 5th chapter also. This knowledge is called saṃnyāsaṃ by Lord Krishna. Because it is the knowledge of the self who is actionless, a saṃnyāsī. And this is the knowledge that is releasing knowledge. Yoga saṃnyasta karmaṇāṃ jnāna sañchinna samśayam ātmantam na karmāni nibadnanti dhananjaya. Hey Dhananjaya, karmāni na nibadnanti. Actions do not bind. Ātmantam, who is aware of the knowledge of the self, jnāna sañchinna samśayam, one who all whose doubts are cut asunder by this sort of knowledge. Yoga saññasta karmaṇāṃ, one who has renounced all the actions by virtue of yoga, by virtue of the self-knowledge. Atmantam, one thus who is aware of the nature of the self, actionless self. Karmāni na nibadnanti, actions do not bind. Because Arjuna had this question that I will become their killer. He had a tremendous guilt feeling that I will be a killer, I will perform sin, I will be a sinner and accountable for the sins of killing these people. So Lord Krishna said, one who has the knowledge of the self, that self is actionless. With that knowledge, one does not perform the actions. There is no sense of doership, no guilt and no hurt. And therefore, to this wise person, actions do not bind. All this was explained in the 4th chapter. Tasmād jñāna samūtam hristam jñānāsyanātmanah chitvenam saṃshyayogam ātishthottishta bharata. Having spoken about the sannyasa, in the next verse Lord Krishna says, therefore, understand that ultimately you are not performing action. There is no doership in you. This is what is a reality about you. To know that reality, yoga matishtha, you take to yoga, take the performance of action with the spirit of yoga. Uttishta bharata, hey Bharata, hey Arjuna, may you arise and perform your duty. So when Arjuna asks about the choice between saṃnyāsa and karmayoga, it cannot be the choice between saṃnyāsa, which is paramadika saṃnyāsa, which is the ultimate goal, of which karmayoga is a means. There cannot be a choice between the means and the end. There can be a choice between two means. So saṃnyāsa, as Lord Krishna speaks about, the pārmādika saṃnyāsa, the knowledge of the self, that is the goal, that's the end. There is no question of choosing, because that is what is always contained in all your effort and. So then when Arjuna asks about choice between saṃnyāsa and karma yoga, it cannot be that pārmādika saṃnyāsa. It has to be another kind of saṃnyāsa, which also is a means of knowledge. Karma yoga is means of knowledge, and a kind of saṃnyāsa which is also a means of knowledge. We discussed that. That's called vividisha saṃnyāsa. Vividisha means veditam ichcha, the desire to know the self, and saṃnyāsa, the renunciation of action that is done by will. That pārmādika saṃnyāsa takes place. This other kind of saṃnyāsa called vividisha saṃnyāsa is the renunciation of action taken by will. One goes to a ceremony, an action of renunciation is involved, of giving up these duties is involved. That saṃnyāsa is taken also for allowing oneself the leisure to perform the knowledge, leisure to pursue the knowledge. Pursuit of knowledge involves shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam at the feet of the teacher, which Lord Kṛṣṇa described in the 4th chapter also. Tad vidhi pranipātena pariprashnena sevaya. You approach the wise teacher, offer long prostration, serve them, ask them appropriate questions at the right time, and they will impart knowledge to you. So thus, in the olden days, even study of Vedanta also required a kind of saṃnyāsa, of renunciation of all duties, so that one's mind is free from sense of guilt. That is called vividisha saṃnyāsa. So that is also a means of knowledge through shravanam, mananam, pursuit of knowledge and gaining that knowledge of self, the ultimate saṃnyāsa, pārmādika or vidvat saṃnyāsa. So therefore, the conclusion is, from all this discussion, that saṃnyāsa that Arjuna is talking about, which is an alternative to karma yoga, cannot be vidvat saṃnyāsa or pārmādika saṃnyāsa, it has to be vividisha saṃnyāsa. And so Arjuna is asking, Lord Kṛṣṇa, yacchreya etayorekaṃ, between the two, what is more commendable for me? Performance of action in the attitude of yoga, the karma yoga, or renunciation of action, the karma saṃnyāsa, the vividisha saṃnyāsa, so that I can pursue knowledge. Now, reason why Arjuna is asking this question is what he should do. If the question is yacchreya etayorekaṃ, that which is more commendable, better among of the two, it is for me. What is better for me? Is performance of action good for me? Or vividisha saṃnyāsa, karmasaṃnyāsā is good for me? And to that, Lord Kṛṣṇa says in the second verse, let us read that. śrībhagavānuvāca saṃnyāsaḥ karmayogaśca niḥśreyasakarāvubhau tayostu karmasaṃnyāsād karmayogo viśiṣyate. śrībhagavānuvāca, Lord Krishna said, saṃnyāsaḥ karmayogaśca niḥśreyasakarāvubhau. Ubhau both. Saṃnyāsaḥ karmayogaḥ. Saṃnyāsaḥ, the renunciation of actions. Vividisha saṃnyāsaṃ, which is taken by choice for the full-time pursuit of knowledge. Niḥśreyasakarāh, it is the means of niḥśreyasa, it is the means of moksha, so it leads to moksha through knowledge. Karmayogaśca, karmayoga also. That karmayoga means performance of karma with attitude of yoga, brings about antahkarana shuddhi, the purification of mind. We'll discuss, then discussed elaborately, and will be further discussed also. So karma yoga is a means to purification of mind, which prepares one for vividisha saṃnyāsa. So sequence is karma yoga, vividisha saṃnyāsa, and vidvat saṃnyāsa. Karma yoga, performance of karma with the attitude of yoga, the attitude of pleasing the Lord, surrendering to the Lord, which brings about purification of mind, which makes mind free from the raga dveṣṭas, attachments and aversions. The mind becomes sattvic, wherein one discovers a strong desire for self-knowledge. And when that happens, then one is now ready to pursue that knowledge full time, and for that one takes the vividisha saṃnyāsa. So really speaking, karma yoga is a means of vividisha saṃnyāsa, which is means of knowledge and moksha. But karma yoga definitely leads to vividisha saṃnyāsa, which then leads to moksha. Therefore, karma yoga also is indirectly the means of moksha, niḥśreyasa. That way, vividisha saṃnyāsa is more proximate to moksha than karma yoga. Karma yoga is somewhat more removed from moksha as compared to vividisha saṃnyāsa. Nevertheless, karma yoga also is means of moksha. Because when you climb the first step, you are ready to climb the second step, ready to climb further steps and reach the destination. Therefore, Lord Krishna says, saṃnyāsaḥ karmayogaśca ubhau niḥśreyasakarāvubhau. Both karma yoga, performance of karma with the attitude of yoga, and saṃnyāsa, renunciation of karma, both of them lead to moksha in the manner which we just described. Which means that this choice is open to Arjuna. He can either choose to perform action as karma yoga, or he can choose to renounce action and become vividisha saṃnyāsī and pursue the knowledge through shravana. So then in second line Lord Krishna says. Now the second line is, first line is a general statement. What is said in the second line of the second verse is specifically addressed to Arjuna. Tayostu karmasaṃnyāsātkarmayogo viśiṣyate. Tayoho, of the two, karmayoga and karmasaṃnyāsa. Karmayoga karmasaṃnyāsāt viśiṣyate. Karma yoga is more commendable, viśiṣyate, more commendable, better than karmasaṃnyāsa. So therefore, even though both of them lead to moksha, Lord Krishna says, in my opinion, karma yoga is better for you than karmasaṃnyāsa. If karmasaṃnyāsa means simply renunciation of action without the maturity of mind, then it is better to perform karma with attitude of yoga to first gain the maturity of mind and then enter karmasaṃnyāsa. For Arjuna, therefore, at the stage where Arjuna is, Lord Krishna says karma yoga is superior to karmasaṃnyāsa. So that way, Bhashyakara says, let us understand the spirit of the sentence here. Iti karmayogaṃ staute. Lord Krishna here extols karma yoga by saying that karmasaṃnyāsātkarmayogo viśiṣyate, that karma yoga is superior to karmasaṃnyāsā. So karma yoga is praised as compared to karmasaṃnyāsa, although that is not an absolute fact. But that is what is told to Arjuna, meaning karma yoga is extolled. In the technical language, this is called arthavāda. That you extol, you do stuti of something to create a desire in the other person. Oh, karma yoga is superior to karmasaṃnyāsa. So I'll do karma yoga, I'll take up karma yoga. Just to motivate Arjuna to take up karma yoga. Karma yoga is extolled here by Lord Krishna. So Bhashyakara makes a statement here to draw our attention that this is told to Arjuna to encourage and motivate Arjuna to take up karma because that is the best for him. So, what's the reason why Lord Krishna extols karma yoga? Let us read the third verse. Karma hi bandhākaranam prasiddham tat katham niḥśreyasakarāvubhau syāt. Anandagiri says that karma hi bandhākaranam prasiddham. It is well known that karma binds. Karmaṇāṃ baddhyate jantuh. It is a general notion that karma binds by producing karma phala. So one who is a karta or performer of action becomes bhokta, the experiencer of the result of the action. That sets the chain. Karta to bhokta, and bhokta again becomes karta because he wants more, then again becomes bhokta. So that is how, by initiating or setting a chain of kartrutva, bhoktrutva, karma binds. Then why does Lord Krishna praise karma yoga when karma is binding? So third verse, Lord Krishna says, jñeyaḥ nityasaṃnyāsī yo na dveṣṭi na kāṅkṣati nirdvandvo hi mahābāho sukhaṃ bandhātpramucyate. nityasaṃnyāsī yo na dveṣṭi na kāṅkṣati. So here Lord Krishna says Yo na dveṣṭi na kāṅkṣati saha nityasaṃnyāsī jñeyaḥ. You know dveṣṭi, one in whom there is no dveṣ or aversion, na kāṅkṣati, no ākaṅksha, not expectation, nor attachment. Yo na dveṣṭi na kāṅkṣati, one from whom the dvesha or ākaṅksha do not arise. Understand this. Na dveṣṭi means one who does not do dvesha or aversion. One who has no, one who does not hate, one who does not dislike. Kāṅkṣati, one who likes, one who expects. Now let us draw our attention to one thing. In na dveṣṭi, when Lord Krishna says one who does not hate, one who does not dislike, meaning that dveṣṭi, dvish means to dislike, to have aversion, to hate. Na dveṣṭi, one who does not hate. That looks like the one who does not hate is the agent of the act of hating. So grammatically or literally it means that you do not hate. But the fact is that nobody hates. The hatred takes place. Meaning that we do not have freedom not to hate. When something happens out there or someone is there, then hatred just emerges from us. So when Lord Krishna says one who does not hate, he is saying nobody hates. So when would it happen that I do not hate? When hatred does not take place in my mind. Why does hatred take place? Why do I hate something? Why do I dislike something? I don't choose to hate, understand? I don't choose to dislike. I don't choose to like also. Like or attachment takes place. When I come in contact with something or somebody, then automatically liking takes place or dislike takes place. Meaning that I don't have freedom in liking or not disliking. So when Lord Krishna is the one who does not dislike, one who does not like, literally it means that one who chooses not to like, one who chooses not to dislike, but that is not a matter of choice. So when would it be that I do not dislike? When all the tendencies of disliking in me are erased. Right now there are many tendencies of liking and dislike. And then when I come in contact with somebody or something, that somebody or something triggers the tendency of like and dislike is already in me, and therefore the like or dislike which is already present in me surfaces, manifests, and takes control of me, and I find myself liking and disliking. So not to dislike is not in my control. Similarly, not to like also is not in my control. That dislike will not happen only when the tendencies of disliking which are stored in my mind are erased. Or liking also will not take place when the tendencies of liking are erased. That wiring is already there of liking or dislike. Somebody or something out there just pushes a button. And because of that wiring, my mind reacts either with like or dislike. You push a button, the fan starts revolving. The fan doesn't have a choice. See, my mind doesn't have a choice. The tendencies that are already accumulated in my mind, they surface and they control the tendency of mind and they control what I do, what my reaction is. And therefore, without my choice, like and dislike just arise in my mind. Understand that? Yes, I have a choice. Now to submit myself to this tendency or to this reaction, contain that reaction within me and not to be dictated by that choice I have. But here Lord Krishna says when dvesha and akanksha, they do not arise. That only it happens when the accumulated tendencies of raga and dvesha, attachment and aversion are erased. That erasing has to take place is a process which I have to undertake. A process which is conducive for erasing the pre-existing condition of likes and dislikes, raga and dvesha, or attachment and aversion. So this is the result of karma yoga. This is what karma yoga does. And this has been discussed and will be discussed also. But just to remind you, karma yoga means performing an action as an offering to Ishvara. Because I have choice to offer my action to two altars, one of the two. One is offering action to my ego to satisfy my likes and dislikes. Ego means likes and dislikes. So when an action is performed to satisfy likes and dislikes, that is satisfaction of ego. When an action is performed to satisfy Ishvara, who has no likes and dislikes, Ishvara is the one who is free from likes and dislikes. So then when I deliberately perform an action not motivated by likes and dislikes, and perform an action in the spirit that may the Lord be pleased with this action, whether the ego likes it or not. So that is a tendency or attitude rather, which is deliberately taken by me, which is opposed to the tendency of like and dislike. And therefore, by deliberately performing action selflessly as an offering to Ishvara, my present tendency of self-centered action is erased progressively. And when that is done for a length of time, ultimately a time comes when these tendencies are more or less erased and my mind is free from the pressure of likes and dislikes. So in the first line of this verse, Lord Krishna says, jñeyaḥ nityasaṃnyāsī yo na dveṣṭi na kāṅkṣati. Yo na dveṣṭi, one who does not hate, na kāṅkṣati, one who does not expect, demand, want. Saha nityasaṃnyāsī jñeyaḥ. He should be considered ever a sannyasi, always a sannyasi. So Lord Krishna adds an adjective nitya to sannyasi. He should be considered always a sannyasi. Even when he is not sannyasi in form. Who is a sannyasi in form? One who has renounced all the duties. Therefore, one who does not perform any nitya, naimitic karma, any kind of vihita karma, any kind of action enjoined upon a person, he is a sannyasi in form who does not perform action. This karma yogi, on the other hand, performs action. Therefore, he is not a sannyasi in form. Lord Krishna, even then, nitya sannyasi. Even when he is performing action, you should know that he is sannyasi. Because na dveṣṭi na kāṅkṣati. Then Lord Krishna here talks about third kind of sannyasa. First kind of sannyasa, the principal sannyasa, is vidvat sannyasa, which is the ultimate goal. Second is the sannyasa or renunciation taken up by will, called the vividisha sannyasa. The sannyasa for pursuit of knowledge. The third sannyasa, which sannyasa or renunciation of raga and dvesha. Dvesha and akanksha, or dvesha and raga. So one who is free from raga dvesha, here Arjuna, he also should be called a sannyasi, because he is ready for the sannyasa. He is ready for the vividisha sannyasa, and through that vidvat sannyasa also. So why does Lord Krishna says that he should be known as nitya? What's the big deal about na dveṣṭi na kāṅkṣati? What is the purpose of extolling freedom from raga dvesha, extolling that as sannyasa? What's the reason? In the second line, Lord Krishna says, nirdvandvo hi mahābāho sukhaṃ bandhātpramucyate. He, because he mahābāho, he Arjuna, nirdvandvo. So nirgataha dvandvaha yasmatsa nirdvandvan, from all dvandva they have gone away. It's called nirdvandva. Dvandva means pairs of opposites. Raga dvesha is a dvandva, like the two sides of a coin, where each one excludes the other, mutually exclusive pairs of opposites. Not like apple and orange. They can coexist. But here these two cannot coexist. Success and failure, they cannot coexist at the same location at the same time. Honor and dishonor, heat and cold, birth and death, like and dislike. All of these are the pairs of opposites which are mutually exclusive, which cannot coexist at the same time at the same place. If one is there, other is not there. Nirdvandvo, one is free from these pairs of opposites. How can you be free from pairs of opposites? Honor and dishonor, success and failure, heat and cold, birth and death. So these are the realities of life. You can't be free from birth and death. You cannot be free from heat and cold. You cannot be free from honor and dishonor because somebody does it. You cannot be free from success and failure because that's the event that takes place. So what is meant by nirdvandvo? The one who is free from dvandva or the pairs of opposites. That only means these states of the mind. A person who is not affected by the dvandva. Dvandva or pairs of opposites is the reality of life. You have to face heat and cold, success and failure, birth and death, honor and dishonor, comfort and discomfort. What they do, these situations, what they do, is they create a reaction in me. Success usually creates a reaction of harsha, elation. Failure creates in me a reaction of grief, sadness. So a situation is branded by me. Now let us also say that success and failure, although we say they are realities of life, they are not realities of life. Is my mind that brands an event as success, another event as failure, and then reacts with harsha and shoka. So where do I have the freedom of not branding an event as success or failure, just looking upon that as an event? Or shielding my mind from reaction, regardless of what happens out there. Even if you say that these pairs of opposites, the dvandva, are the realities of life, I still have the choice to shield my mind from the impact of those dualities, such that I can enjoy an equipoise of the mind. Who is nirdvandvo? Nirdvandvo is one who enjoys the equanimity of the mind, equipoise of the mind, in the midst of dvandva, in the midst of these dualities or pairs of opposites. Nirdvandvo hi mahābāho, one whose mind is free from the dveṣṭa and raga, one dvandva that Lord Kṛṣṇa described. Meaning that one in whom the dveṣṭa and raga do not arise. The hatred and attachment, they do not arise. That can be two reasons. Because they see something there, you see the sameness, Lord Kṛṣṇa said, siddhi siddhyo samo bhūtva samatvam yoga uccate. Remaining, entertaining, enjoying sameness of the mind in success and failure. So Pujya Swami explained, how do you do that? By seeing these events as prasada or as grace of Ishvara. So these are brought about by Ishvara. He is the creator of this. What I call success is created by Ishvara. What I call failure also is created by Ishvara. And all pairs of opposites ultimately are created by Ishvara, not by me. If I look upon myself as the agent of creation of this, then I blame myself or I congratulate myself. If the event takes place, that is called success. If I become the creator of that, I call myself the creator of that, then I congratulate myself. If I call myself the creator of failure, then I blame myself. That's how I react with either success, harsha or shoka. When I realize that both are created by Ishvara, not by me, I simply perform the action. The result is determined by Ishvara. He is creator of the universe. He is creator of pairs of opposites which I confront every moment. When Ishvara creates them, then why should I have to take the responsibility for that? Why do I have to brand myself for them? Why should I brand myself as successful or failure? Success is an event there, failure is an event there. Successful is a branding that I do to myself. Failure is branding that I do to myself. Why should I do that? That is where my choice is. Having performed an action, I don't have a choice in the result called success or failure. But merely success and failure events do not affect me. When I brand myself as successful and failure, that is when I get affected. And that is I have a choice. I am not successful. The event is created by Ishvara. I am not a failure, created by Ishvara. And that way I remain free from the reactions arising from taking the ownership of the outcome. Ma karma phala heturvūhu. Don't become karma phala hetuhu. Do not become owner of karma phala. Karma hetuhu. You become the owner of the karma, not karma phala, because you don't control. So thus bringing Ishvara into our life while performing karma also bring Ishvara into our life, that may Ishvara be pleased by this action, and he'll be pleased only when action is performed in keeping with his expectation, his rules, his likes and dislikes, by dharma, by values, by right attitudes. And while confronting the outcome, again I bring Ishvara into my life by reminding myself that Ishvara has created this. He is the author of the karma phala. And therefore, I receive the karma phala only as a grace or a gift of Ishvara, with a conviction that whatever Ishvara does for my well-being. This attitude insulates me from the reaction that the karma phala produces. This is called nirdvandvo, one who is free from the reactions towards the events and happenings, maintains an equanimity of the mind, is nirdvandvo. Nirdvandvo hi mahābāho. He mahābāho, the one who is nirdvandvo, meaning free from the reaction that dvandva or the pairs of opposites generally create, who does not react to what is happening out there, who maintains equanimity of mind, sameness of the mind regardless of what happens out there. Sukhaṃ bandhātpramucyate, pramucyate. He becomes free, becomes liberated, very well liberated. Prakṛṣṇa mucyate, becomes free, liberated once and for all. Bandhāt, from the bondage. The primary bondage, the fourth bondage of ignorance. From that arises ahankara. From that arises mamakara. From them that arises the ragadveshas. So his bondage manifests as ragadvesha, which is caused by ahankara, caused by the identification of upadhi, caused by the ignorance. So one pramucyate, one becomes free from the bondage once and for all when this final obstacle of ignorance also is dispelled. But the one who is nirdvandvo, one who is free from the impact of this dvandva or pairs of opposites, one who maintains an equanimity of mind because he recognizes that's the play of Ishvara. Not because insensitive, because he sees a play of Ishvara. And therefore, he remains free from reaction. That state of mind is conducive to ultimately reaching moksha through the vividisha saṃnyāsa, through knowledge, through abundance in knowledge, vidvat saṃnyāsa, moksha. Nirdvandvo hi mahābāho sukhaṃ bandhātpramucyate, sukhaṃ anāyāsena, effortlessly. So this is a very great achievement. Nirdvandvo. In the 18th chapter, Lord Krishna says, Swakarmaṇāṃ tamabhyarcha siddhim vindati mānavah. Tam Ishvaram Swakarmaṇāṃ tamabhyarcha. By worshipping the Lord with one's own karma or the duty, one attains siddhi. This is siddhi, nirdvandvata. Freedom from dvandva, freedom from pairs of opposites, freedom from reactions. They are binding me. When I am free from this first great obstacle of reactions, then subsequent obstacles can be easily taken care of. So, sukhaṃ pramucyate, effortlessly then one crosses over rest of the obstacles and attains the ultimate goal, which is moksha. Now Lord Krishna again explains further in the next two verses. This idea is further expanded. How there is no big difference between karma yoga and karma sannyasa as far as the outcome is concerned. Lord Krishna said, saṃnyāsaḥ karmayogaśca niḥśreyasakarāvubhau. Both karmayoga and karmasaṃnyāsa are the means of niḥśreyasa or moksha, which we already discussed. That karmasaṃnyāsa is a means of moksha through the pursuit of knowledge and gaining knowledge. Karma yoga is a little more remote means of knowledge by first preparing oneself for karma sannyasa, which then prepares oneself for the moksha. So Lord Krishna explains the same thing in the next two verses also. Lord Krishna, the fourth verse says, how come both of them are, Lord Krishna made a statement that karma yoga and karma sannyasa, both of them lead to moksha. How that is so is said in the fourth verse. Let us read that fourth verse. Sāṅkhyayogau pruthak bālaha pravadanti na panditaha ekamapyāsthita saṃnyaka uvāyorvindate phalam. Sāṅkhyayogau pruthak iti bālaha pravadanti na panditaha pravadanti. Here the word Lord Krishna is the word Sāṅkhya for sannyasa. Sāṅkhyayogau, Sāṅkhya and Yoga, pruthak, they are different. Iti bālaha pravadanti, that's what the bālaha. Immature people say that Sāṅkhya karma sannyasa and Yoga karma yoga are different. Well, they are different. Sāṅkhya means karma sannyasa means renunciation of karma. And yoga means performance of karma. They are different. And therefore, bālaha, people who do not know the subtleties involved in this, who go simply by the form and come to conclusion, they conclude that the karma yoga and karma sannyasa are different. Because in form they are different. In form, one is performance of karma, karma yoga. The other one is karma sannyasa, renunciation of action. So certainly they are different in form. And simply judging them by their form, these people who do not understand what exactly is involved in them, what is the spirit involved in them, they are different from each other as far as the form is concerned. And so they conclude that they are different, meaning that they give rise to different results, that karma binds and sannyasa releases, etc. The pandita, but not pandita, not those who understand the spirit involved in karma yoga and karma sannyasa. To the tatparya, the purport of what is taught by the scriptures. Those who simply do not stick to the words, but what is sought to be conveyed through those words. That karma yoga and karma sannyasa appear to be opposed to each other in form, but what is sought to be conveyed through them, those who understand the spirit or the tatparya, the purport are called panditaha. The learned ones, the mature ones. So, na pravadanti panditaha. Panditas do not say that karma yoga and karma sannyasa are different. Even though they are different in form, as we said, but they do not simply come to the judgment by the form, but they also recognize the spirit that is involved in both of them. They recognize that the spirit of sannyasa is involved in both of them. In karma yoga also, the spirit of sannyasa is involved, even though sannyasa is not in form in terms of renouncing something, giving up something outwardly. In sannyasa, there is giving up something outwardly, giving up karma. But in karma yoga, even though performance of karma is involved, there is renunciation taking place at the subtle level, at the level of the mind. The attitude of yoga. So yoga is attitude of sannyasa. Karma yoga is the karma performed with the attitude of sannyasa. Sannyasa of what? Sannyasa of one's raga dveshas. Usually, so when it is said karmaṇāṃ baddhyate jantuhu, a jantu or jiva is bound by karma, that statement also should be understood. Which karma? Karma performed by, as prompted by raga dveshas, that karma binds. So really karmaṇāṃ baddhyate jantuhu, a jiva-atma is bound by karma, that is not right statement simply taken literally. We should qualify that. Karmaṇāṃ baddhyate jantuhu, raga-dvesha prerita karmaṇā. The karma or action which is prompted by raga or dvesha, that's what binds. Karma does not bind. It is the raga dveshas that bind. Because usually when we are about to perform any karma, because karma involves a certain personal sacrifice. Karma involves sacrifice in terms of effort. I have to make an effort to perform karma. Also, when I perform one karma, I may have to give up another karma. Very often there is a choice between what I like and what is right. So, dharma, karma yoga requires me to do what is right, whether I like it or not. And therefore, that renunciation also is involved. Performance of karma involves an effort because karma requires effort to perform. And secondly, since karma yoga requires me to do what is right with an attitude of offering, selfless attitude, therefore, I have to give up my choice of what I like. That liking also has to be given up. Effort also has to be undertaken. So therefore, these are the aspects which are discouraging aspect. Why should I do that? Therefore, karma yogi also has to renounce a tendency to avoid karma. That's the tamo guna. Tamo guna makes me avoid doing something. And rajo guna creates in me a self-centeredness, selfishness. In order for me to perform karma in the spirit of yoga, both these tamo guna and rajo guna, both of them have to be sacrificed or overcome. My first impulse may be, I don't know to do this because who will do that? Involves exertion, effort. And secondly, why should I? What do I have to gain? The ego always asks this question, what is in it for me? So that's rajoguna, which manifests as selfishness. So that also have to control. And therefore, for performance of karma in the spirit of yoga, the tendencies arising from tamoguna and rajoguna, both of them have to be sacrificed. And to assert the tendency arising from sattva-guna. What is the tendency? The tendency of being a contributor, of being a giver, of being a devotee, of being one who offers, even though no personal gain may be involved. So that is the spirit of sacrifice that a karma yogi has to entertain. Therefore, as far as spirit of sacrifice is concerned, the karma yogi also has that. Even though in the form he is performing karma, the spirit is a saṃnyāsī because he sacrifices his personal agenda, his self-centeredness. He tends to avoid something that involves exertion. All of these has to be overcome. The tamoguna, the tenets of tamoguna and rajoguna have to be overcome for performance of karma with the spirit of yoga. Therefore, karma yogi also is a saṃnyāsī. So those who recognize this, the balaha, the immature people, simply look at the form of karma yoga and karma sannyasa and see that they are different from each other, so they are different. So they will produce different results. Karma produces the result of bondage and sannyasa produces the result of freedom, etc. It is not so. Karmana baddhete jantuhu, that a jantu is bound by karma is not quite right. Should be qualified. Only karma performed by the impulse of raga dvesha binds the jantu, binds the jivatma. Not karma per se, it is raga dveshas that bind. We have a choice to perform action without being controlled by raga dvesha, with an attitude called Ishvararma buddhi, offering to Ishvara, being contributor, being selfless. But I have a choice. I choose to entertain that attitude. Therefore I have to renounce those natural instincts of selfishness, etc. So renunciation is involved. So karma yogi is a saṃnyāsī in making. So saṃnyāsī is the one who has gone through this and they were ready for pursuit of knowledge, and karma yogi is the one who is preparing himself for that saṃnyāsa. But when he has this attitude, he will definitely reach that saṃnyāsa. Therefore Lord Krishna says, ekamapyāstita samyak ubhayor vindate phalam. Ekamapi samyak asthitah. Samyak asthitah, very well abiding. Ekamapi, a person who is very well abiding in one of them. Karma yoga or karma sannyasa. If he performs karma in the spirit of yoga, then he is bound to become karma sannyasi, bound to become vividisha sannyasi, bound to become vidva sannyasi. That path is open, And of course, only the karma sannyasi also enjoying that maturity, he is certainly to reach the vidva sannyasa. So, a karma sannyas who is mature, who is prepared for pursuit of knowledge in shravanam, mananam, etc., he will gain the knowledge and gain the moksha. But karma yogi also, with the right attitude, will progressively eventually become free from raga dveshas, will become karma sannyasi and become vidvat sannyasi. Therefore, the panditaha, the wise people who understand the spirit of karma yoga and karma sannyasa, see the same sannyasa in both of them. Therefore they say that both are one, meaning that both of them ultimately result into moksha. So as far as phala is concerned, as far as form is concerned, they are different. As far as the ultimate result is concerned, they are the same. Therefore, panditaha sāṅkhyayogau pusagiti panditaha na pravadanti. Therefore, Sankhya and Yoga are different. Panditas do not say, because if one undertakes in all sincerity any one of them, then ubhayoho phalam vindate. One reaches a phalam that is gained by both of them or either of them, which is moksha. Okay, we will continue discussion in the next class. Oh. Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo